Our last lesson of Promises to Keep, we made it, pages 58 through 63. And just as an overview, I think and we'll talk about this in our discussion virtually, I think it's so interesting how, if you flip through the book, it's completely black and white photography until we actually get to the last section. And I know that we've been working on analyzing photography and why his daughter would input certain pictures. I think it's also important to look at the style of photography. So if we look completely throughout the book, there are all black and white pictures, even from time periods where color photography existed. Like it wasn't as if they couldn't take color pictures. But I have just this little thought that she did this on purpose to kind of showcase the joy and the triumph and something bright in the future. And as it's the end of the text and it's talking about the legacy, it's something that shines. So, color and shine and a bright shift. And the final picture of seeing everybody's face in full color and, linking to people of color and everyone together. And there's a lot of bright, joyous occasions. And the final portrait of her with her father. I don't know. I just think it's definitely on purpose, and it's definitely a moment that we can analyze deeper. But that's just a little preview of what we're going to get to when we get to our discussion. So this last section is called Jackie Robinson's Legacy. And we'll also talk about why this is not first in the book. She doesn't tell us about his legacy first and then come back to it. She really wants the end to be strong, her conclusion to really punch, which is what we've always talked about with our conclusions in our essay writing and our vignettes. So once again, we're seeing an author deliberately choose her ending or the ending. Page 58. We buried my father on October 29th, 1972. In his eulogy, that is the end, that's the speech that you give at the end of someone's life at the funeral. In his eulogy, the Reverend Jesse L. Jackson reminded us that no grave could hold this man down. More than 2,500 mourners watched as 6 former athletes, Boston Celtics star Bill Russell and Dodger teammates Don Newcomb, Joe Black, Junior Gilliam, Pee Wee Reese, and Ralph Branca carried my father's silver blue coffin draped in red roses out of New York City's Riverside Church. Gives me goosebumps. After the service, people lined the streets to pay their final respect as Dad's casket passed through Harlem on its way to the Cypress Hills Cemetery in Brooklyn. We will discuss, why paint this picture of all these people around. What does this speak to who Jackie was as a person? If 2,500 people come to Brooklyn to say goodbye, what does that say about Jackie Robinson and what he did for the country? Top of 59 is very much a daughter's take on this situation, where she says, "It was one of the saddest days of my life. It took years for the pain and sense of loss to dull, but Dad would have expected us to stay in the game of life and to meet each challenge with strength and compassion. That's been my promise to him." In 2002, my son Jesse helped pay tribute to my dad as part of the Major League Baseball's Memorable Moments campaign. And that's him on the right in the 42 jersey. At the 73rd All-Star Game in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, my son reenacted my father's first moments as a Major League player. Jesse, wearing a replica of my dad's famous number 42 Dodgers uniform, stepped across first base, paused, hands resting on bent knees, eyes serious. So he's being his grandpa. At 24, he was 5 years younger than his grandfather had been when he broke baseball's color barrier. As the announcer played out the dramatization, he introduced my son to 43,000 cheering fans. Mom and I sat proudly watching from the baseball commissioner's box as Jesse, who was 2 generations removed from this moment, accepted the profound yet brief connection to his grandfather. We'd raised my son with stories and pictures of my dad's achievement, but at the same time stressed the importance of defining life on your own terms. So that's to say, your grandpa was really important and he did a lot of things, and you're going to be important and do a lot of things too, but in your way. It's Not that we all have to be Jackie Robinson and copy Jackie Robinson, but we imitate the pride and the push for better life like he did. As we observed the confidence Jesse displayed that evening, we knew how far he'd come toward creating an identity separate and distinct from his grandfather. And that's a challenge. It's taken me many years to understand and celebrate the fullness of my legacy. In achieving understanding, however, I've been both inspired and give a sense of direction that's enhanced who I am. At the same time, I've had the freedom to create a life of my own. So she took her dad's legacy and embedded it in her life to create something new for her own legacy. And again, legacy is like your mark on the world. Top of 60. Each year, children across the United States select Jackie Robinson for their National History Day projects, and through their exploration of the man, they too adopt a piece of him into their lives. In Major League Baseball ballparks across the country, my father's number 42 is retired and proudly displayed along the outfield walls as a lifelong symbol of his legacy. Bonus if you could tell me in our discussion other sports numbers that are retired, meaning people don't wear them anymore. Across the country, there are organizations, programs, schools, parks, community centers, and other facilities that bear my father's name. But perhaps our most significant family legacy is the Jackie Robinson Foundation. It was founded by Mom and several close friends in 1973, the year after Dad died. Through the Jackie Robinson Foundation, we strengthen young people by providing education and leadership development opportunities with the expectation that the path selected by each student will include giving back to the communities, which mirrors Jackie giving back to his community, first in California, then in Brooklyn, then his community of baseball, then his community across the world. More than 30 years after his death, Jackie Robinson Foundation scholars remain a living tribute to my father today. Today, 1,000 graduates of the program are in the world making significant contributions in their field of choice. Each graduate is unique and special. Each understands that family and career are only part of their work as an adult. They've all been trained that volunteerism is a lifelong commitment and that they must remain engaged and active in an ever-changing world. These pictures are great on 62 and 63. And so the ranks of dedicated young leaders and followers committed to building a vibrant, productive, and richly diverse world are growing. So she takes all the things that he began, and there's a foundation to push young people like yourselves to keep on with that legacy, to keep making the world vibrant, productive, and diverse. The steps to forming such a society begins in childhood. It starts with making a promise to yourself, your family, and your community to be the best you can be so that when you're presented with the opportunity to lead, you'll be ready to assume your role. Many years have passed since my father died. I still miss him terribly, but have found ways to contribute to celebrate his life. And as you do that, you stay connected to those who have passed. Dad kept his promise to America, yet the struggle for equality continues. It is my hope that future generations will embrace the challenges of a global society and find creative ways to challenge systems that are unjust. And I think that last sentence is the stamp of Jackie Robinson. He found a creative way to challenge those unjust systems, be it in baseball, be it in sports and making organizations. So that is her challenge to us as readers of this text to continue that legacy and create one for ourselves. And in these pages, you see another extremely popular celebrity status sports player in Michael Jordan. And that could be maybe another branch of continuing Jackie's legacy and researching him and seeing what he did with his time in the sports world. So in multiple ways at the end of this book, she branches out and prompts the reader to continue the legacy, prompts you to research another person who's continued this legacy, and keeping those promises of continuing onward.